Today we'll be reviewing written work that was assigned last week. So we're starting off with exercise 5 from June 2025, paper 1, variant 2. Let's start with you, Afan, alphabetically. Alright, so here's an informal email. The question is, you recently went away for the weekend with your family. There was a problem during your weekend away. Or an email to a friend telling them about your weekend away. In your email, you should say why you were going away, describe what the problem was, and explain how the problem affected you and your family. Right, so here's the text, and if I still remember how to do this, Control Shift C, I believe, yes. So an exact 160 words, spot on. Let's see what you've written. Hi Ibrahim, hope you had a great weekend. Sorry for not writing to you for a while. I've been busy with work. Okay, now before reading ahead, what you could write is, since the question very clearly says that you are away for the weekend, you could just write that, and it would seem more relevant to the question. Right? Sorry for not writing to you for a while. Right? I was away with my family on a trip or something. I recently went to a hotel by the beach to celebrate my sister's birthday. The reason we went was to surprise her and have a relaxing time away from the city. Right. However, there was a problem. When we arrived, they had lost our reservation, and the hotel staff told us that the rooms were fully booked. We showed them our booking information, but they insisted that there was nothing they could do except refund our money. This problem really affected us. My sister started crying, and my parents and I were stressed out because of the long drive. We later drove to another hotel, which was another 1 hour drive. It wasn't as nice, but we decided to make the best of it and had a nice dinner the next day. So I will just make some tweaks to this. I'm just rephrasing this slightly. It's not wrong, to be clear, right? Or in our case, as we wanted, and let's remove the full stop as well. So we went to a hotel by the beach to celebrate my sister's birthday as we wanted to surprise her and have a relaxing time away from the city. So make that one sentence. However, we did run into a problem. So you could also choose to write hassle. When we arrived, they had lost a reservation. And let's make this and the hotel staff told us that the rooms were fully booked. We showed them our booking information, but they insisted that there was nothing they could do except refund our money. Now, sort of clearly stating that this problem affected us, you can, the way you write it would reach out to the reader. This is how it affects. So you can just like, instead of saying this problem really affected us, just saying my sister started crying and my parents and I was stressed out because of the long drive. We later drove to another hotel, which was another 1 hour. But repeating drive over here. We were Which was another 1 hour away. It wasn't as nice, comma, but the lowercase b. We decided to make the best of it and had a nice dinner the next day. What exciting escapades have you been up to? Alright, what do you think?
It's good.
Alright, so just a bit of tweaking in the phrasing and because one thing you've done this one particularly is you kind of just made all of these sentences rather short standalone sentences, right? And one thing that I've done is made them longer sentences. So either turning sim grammatically speaking, turning simple sentences into either compound or complex sentences.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll return back to you. Next up, we have Aima. 158. Okay. Hi, Sarah. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Well, we just visited my cousin for her 7th birthday. So my cousin Aisha's birthday was on 3rd March. My parents took 2 days off from their work because my uncle and aunt lived 3 hours away. We reached there on time. Acha, chalo, let's read this first. We reached there on time and everything was great. We had a blast. We had many of our other cousins also there as well as our friends. Aisha was over the moon. To conclude the party was great. Right. On our way back for our city on May 5th, our car suddenly stopped. The tires got punctured, and this happened midway where there was no population. When my father did call a mechanic from his contacts who came the next morning, we got tires fixed and we continued our journey. My parents had extended their holidays from the office, but rest all was good. But I'm waiting for your response. I'm now, Irma, before I go on to make corrections, I feel there are a few to make. As I mentioned the last time, your writing seems different from what you used to submit earlier on, right? I mean, maybe you're not spending as much time over this, or like you're doing it in a hurry, because the style is very like earlier on the style used to be very polished. Still, I mean, there used to be mistakes, but it would be polished, and now it just seems like you are just writing as if like whatever's coming to mind and then just like going with that. Again, it's a very casual conversational tone, which I mean otherwise would be okay, but for the informal email, you're trying a different approach. So okay, you're trying a different approach. The conversational thing, I mean, for it to seem conversational is nice, but like when I say it seems conversational, it just seems like you're writing exactly the way that you think and talk, which is, I guess, not what you want, right? Because there's repetition and there's like slip ups in grammar and punctuation and stuff, right? That's right. So let's try to do this. I'm not going to edit over here, but I'm going to rewrite it down here. So let's try to maintain that. Okay. So we can skip the how are you. I hope you're doing well. So I went, in fact, I have a cousin named, I hope you're doing well. Last over the weekend. Want to hear about it? And you're going to tell them even if they don't want to hear about it. Oh, by the way, right, brackets are something that you can use to include additional information, or again, if you're taking the conversational tone, which is something that, right, works with informal writing, uh, right, sort of puts your thoughts or stuff that you would say on the side. So that's something you could use. I don't think we've used that before. I have a cousin named Aisha. She just turned 7, and we attended and we went to, where did we go? Right? What's the city close to yours that's like 3 hours away? I know. Riyadh, is Riyadh that far? Are you there? Okay. Okay. She's not at the moment. Okay. Now, since, right, you mentioned it on March 3rd, which is obviously a weekday. It was Wednesday, I believe. Tuesday, right? And so your parents took 2 days off. I'm not doing that, and the reason I'm not doing that is because the question is asking you about something you did over the weekend, right? But I will include having to ask for, uh, you know, your parents having to call the office and taking time off and something. Okay. So let's see. Oh, our mom. Okay. Now what we need, right, is some information about what happened at the event. Well, Right. Ima, if you're there, if you were reading along, what do you say? This is, however, a bit longer than you'd want, so we could maybe, so we could uh, maybe try and trim it down, but I'll leave that to you if you want to. I'll return that. I don't think she's around. Is she?
Sir, I'm here.
Oh, you are.
Sir, I wanted to ask, are my responses not correct or are they way too casual?
As I mentioned, like it seems like you're just writing the way you think, right? And if you were writing an actual email, then I mean, no one's checking, right? It's between you and your friend, so there's no one to come in and say, oh, you did this, you did that. But over here, despite it being an informal email, there are certain criteria that you need to live up to, right? There are
Then,
certain
sir, how
requirements.
should I, then how should I
Well,
get better at this?
well, I mean, I tried doing that. Obviously, it's different because it's me writing it and not you. But I tried to capture that conversational tone, that relaxed tone. I don't know if I was successful. I don't know what you think, right? But yeah, so your writing can't be like super casual, like you would normally, the way you'd normally talk with a friend, right? Like I said, there are certain criteria that you need to meet to get those marks, right? Your writing needs to be polished, and the informality needs to be reflected from your writing, in the sense that the way you structured your questions, or no, your not questions, the way you've structured your sentences, and the vocabulary you've used and everything else, right? So that would reflect. So, right, me using the brackets to express thoughts that I'm not, you know, like, side thoughts that maybe I get in my head while writing. So using that, or what did you get up to, right? Want to hear, like, not wanna, but want to hear about it, right? So stuff like that. Okay, Alvira, right? I wrote 180 words. Yes, they allow 120 to 160. That is, as like, so since you're new here, you can go over the word limit. Obviously, it's better to stick within the word limit, but you can go over the word limit. You will not be penalized for going over the limit. The penalty will be, if you're going over the limit, you're either not, your writing isn't as polished, and so you lose marks for quality, and you're spending more time on your writing, and so you lose time, and so you won't be able to have, like complete your response, right? And so you're not going to lose marks just because you wrote more. Of course, you don't want to like be writing like 250 words out of this thing. Where is your response, Alvira? Am I missing something? Oh, you've uploaded as a PDF. Okay, so let's. Why can I not copy this? Ah, okay. So I can't edit this, and so the next time, if you could, right, just type over here like the others have, right? So just start writing over here, Now, since you have submitted a PDF, I'll just read it and give you some feedback. Hey Shiza, how's life going? Any updates on the school science project? So, how's life going would have a question mark with it, and then the A for any would be capitalized. I wasn't really able to help you out this weekend as I went to a beach. The B would be lowercase with my family. Uh, since we wanted to relax and spend some time together. So again, the S for spend would be lowercase. After together, I put a full stop. But, uh, comma, I am sure. Oh yeah, one more thing, contractions. I don't know if I used contractions with the two of you, Afan and Aima. I guess I didn't. So you need to purposely use contractions to show informal writing. Right, something I've mentioned a number of times earlier. So the I am would become I'm. Right, you don't want to overdo it. Like you can sometimes write it spaced out, but contractions. But I'm sure you would have definitely got the project done in time. Okay. So, however, things took an unexpected turn. When we arrived, they were sealing the entire beach due to a shark attack that recently happened. Okay, so instead of saying however, because you are talking about going to the beach and the project at the same time, so uh, what you call it, right? The however is it's sort of confusing that what are you linking it to? So you could do that with at the beach, right? Things took an unexpected turn. When we arrived, they were sealing the entire area instead of beach. You want to keep on repeating beach, so they were sealing the entire area because of a shark attack that happened. Uh, instead of recently, right? You'd like to make it more relevant. You'd say earlier in the morning. It was an upsetting experience. Me and my since like because me and my family were really looking forward to it for some time, right? I mean, not the shark attack. So we were really looking forward to, uh, you know, uh, having a swim and playing volleyball or something. Okay, to make matters worse, we had to find a hotel by walking all the way rather than booking a taxi due to the internet were not working there. So to make matters worse, we couldn't find a taxi since there was no internet reception in the right, and so we had to walk all the way to a hotel. Overall, it wasn't relaxing at all and affected us badly. Now, again, you don't need to like say it in words, like saying that you couldn't enjoy the beach and you had to walk to the hotel and everything clearly says that it affected you badly. So describe the problem, you've done that, and how it affected you. And so, right, it wasn't the trip we managed, but at least it was an adventure. Not at last, but at least it was an adventure. Full stop. I'll tell you the rest at school tomorrow. Okay. Best wishes, comma, and then your name. So some verbal feedback for you. I hope that helps. Okay, so I'll return that as it is. And then do we have time? We've got 15 minutes. Let's see if we can do the review. Right, so this was about a new transport museum has just opened near where you live. You recently visited it and with some friends and decided to post a review of your visit on the Transport Museum's website. I learned a lot about different forms of transport. Some of the interactive displays were not working. The guides could explain things in different languages. I was expecting the museum to be bigger. Okay, write your review. So, 136, which falls into the word limit. Right, now, one thing about a review similar to writing an article is you want the heading to be slightly catchy so that readers would actually stop and bother reading your review, right? I mean, if I'm in the review section, then obviously, like, everything that's written over there is a review, right? You're not going to write about how to make shawarma at home, for example, right? You're not putting cooking recipes over there. So we could have slightly better heading over here, slightly catchy, not like over the top perhaps. And so since you're right, you need to have this sense of where you're writing it, right? So you're not writing the review in a magazine, like in a school magazine. You're writing the review on the Transport Museum's website. So I recently went to a transport museum with my friends and reviewed it for the museum's website. So you're writing this like a report. I think we've done a review like only once before, right? Historically, trend wise, they really like giving articles. Uh, so, right, reviews and other stuff don't come in very frequently. Sorry, guys, I didn't check your messages. Alvira, how was your email? It was fine. It needed polishing as I suggested, but otherwise, you did have material, right? Like you had points to express, but uh, hopefully, if you try to rewrite that with the suggestions, then it would be better. Aima, I've already started. I didn't see your comments, so if you can just wait, I hope. Okay, so the museum had a range of transport which included past, modern. You know what? I'm going to. I feel I'm going to rewrite this. So let's see. An educational experience. What do I do? Educational. I recently visited the museum because you're writing on the website itself with my friends, and we walked out with mixed feelings. Right? The museum features what is it? Works like what's the word for stuff at the museum? Exhibits. And uh, so the museum features exhibits of a range of transports from past to modern and even future futuristic ideas. Noris? What are noris? Nori disease is a rare X-linked genetic disorder affecting males that causes total blindness at or shortly. I'm pretty sure that's not what you're talking about, Afan. Nori improvised rail vehicle. Okay, so more like this. No, not that. I'm getting all sorts of weird results. No, food panda. No. Okay,
Sir, N-O or Y?
and oh yeah, yeah. So that's what I. But I do have this. So okay. So that's something for me, right? I've learned something new. I mean, I've seen that stuff. I didn't know it was called that. So I, I learned a new word. They they had displays of a nori. I don't know. Like let's go with noise, carriages, boats, cars, electric abra, right? The new one, right? By RTA. Although I they were introduced back in, I don't know, 2015 or something, so it's been 10 years at least. Okay, Google says we have 15 minutes. Well, I mean, less obviously. uh Electric abras. The guide was fluent in some 5 languages, and he was able to explain. In fact, the guide was able to explain fluently in about 5 languages, which was really appreciated by all the tourists. Okay. However, skipping, there were some, there was some lacking. However, a few of the interactive displays weren't working properly, right? Giving the place making it seem like maintenance wasn't maintenance wasn't uh, top notch, and it felt really small. Well, it felt like it didn't have a lot to offer. The It's small in terms of size, and we were done mm, in and we had seen everything in just over and up. The museum does have a lot of potential, especially if some features are reconsidered and if the museum's area, especially, so I'll just copy that, if some features are reconsidered and if it's expanded to include more displays and artifacts. Right, and so you don't need to give a name or something. Like, Afan, what do you say? Is this like any improvement? I mean, I don't want to use the word improvement, but like compared to what you wrote yourself. Okay, you say it's better. Now, today's review for some reason took longer than it normally does. Normally, we are done quite earlier on, right? We actually have time to spare at the end. Today, we don't. And so, for tomorrow's class, right, first of all, let's return this before something goes wrong. And so, for tomorrow's class, I will start with reviewing the other two that's left. And then, if time permits, we can also try our hand at some speaking. And just to let you know, now your speaking will be timed, right? So during your actual assessment, speaking test will last, including all the, thinking and answering and everything, the warm up. It lasts for about a total of 15 minutes. And so I'm going to time your speaking according to assessment criteria, right? And so one person will only get 15 minutes to speak. I will, right? So if a section is like 2 minutes and there's three questions, when you start giving your response, I will stop you. I will move on to the next question. And so I'm telling you now, just so that you're mentally prepared, that that's how I'm going to do things for the speaking from now on. Oh, right. So, right, pre-2024 papers are different. So that's the question. How do we practice from those? You can do the extended. As far as practice is concerned, doing the extended papers are better, right? For the listening papers, they're not MCQs. Now you have like all MCQs. So earlier on, they weren't just MCQs. You had to write out your answer. And so, yeah, do it. I mean, it's the listening skill, right? MCQs are much easier to do because you have the option in front of you. You just need to pick the right one. Whereas listening to the recording, the audio, and then picking out that word and what should we call it, right? Writing it on paper is more challenging. And so if you do that, you're only going to strengthen your listening skill. I'll just show you very quickly, right? So let's go pre 2024. Let's pick out any one of these, right? November 2015. And so, right, what you want to practice is paper 20, right? So paper 2, paper 4, and paper 5. Paper 5 is listening. So what you want to practice is paper 2 and paper 4, right? So paper 2, variant 1, 2, 3, so that's 21, 22, 23. That is the, where's the question paper? Yeah. So that is the reading and writing paper. So that's the extended one. Lagging. Okay, there you go. All right, so some of these questions are the same. So you've got the short answers, right? You got the shortest, this is the text like you would get in question 1. All right, this one just has some subheading, so don't let that confuse you. You've got the shortest answer questions. Then this one is what now? More short answer questions. Okay. Then you have, right, this is, right, not something you need anymore. This is making notes. So making notes is still there, so you can attempt this question. And then I believe this is a summary. Yeah, the summaries are no longer there, so you don't need to do that. So you can attempt the question, just see what the question is. If it's similar to something you're doing in the current syllabus, attempt it. If it's something completely different, obviously don't do it. The email for the writing section is still there, right? The informal email. It's just that, right, the word limit is between 150 to 200. You write between 120 to 160. Do what you have, right? So the question is still relevant. And similarly, for over here, right? Now, instead of giving you 4 comments, they're just giving you 2. So you've got less to go on in that, right, sense. But you still have a question. You're still being asked to write an article for a school magazine. And so instead of 150 to 200, you do, right, 120 to 160, which is what your syllabus requirement is. So you can very well use those, right, for your practice. All right, Alvira, I hope that answers your question, and Afan helps you as well. I was left. Hopefully, right, it helped her. If you can go back to this, come back to this. If there's nothing else, right, that's the end of class. Right, and I will see you guys tomorrow, inshallah.
Allah Hafiz.
Allah.